Hello. A couple of my friends were interested in my opinion for this article that has been going all around Facebook, which says on why this author. Oh, by the way, this is probably going to be a long video, so I hope you're willing to listen to what I have to say because it is pretty long, and I apologize for that. But I just have a couple things to say, and it might be a little ranty, um, and kind of messy because this is my first like response video about something, and I just wanted to. I think it would be better for me to sit through here, and I'm a little tired. So I know I look a little messed up. I've been working like 10 to 12-hour days. Life of visual effects. So I do belly dance. I've been belly dancing for a time. And now, oh, well, the article I was going to talk about was this article by Rhonda Jarrar. I'm probably saying that wrong, sorry, but that's just my Spanish in there. On why she can't stand white belly dancers. And white, she means color, which I have questions about. Do you just mean skin color? Do you mean North American dancers? Or do you just mean European dancers as well? Or do you mean anybody that's pretty much not Arabic? It seems from what I can read here. But she likes to use the term white a lot. So I'm going to hear that a lot, and I might rant a little bit about it. So she says on how the first thing she talks about, she's about how when you Google belly dance and how um, the engine will offer a bunch of women in flowing skirts and playing at brownness, and pretty much how they're engaging in appropriation if they belly dance. I already have problems with that, but let's keep going with what she's saying. The term belly dance itself did come from a Western one. I agree with that. In Arabic, it is called raqs sharki. I agree with that. That's very true. She's using real facts. I do understand the word belly dance in North America came from a very racist background, and how it's a very long history. You should probably read it up and look it up. It's pretty interesting. It's true the facts that she about the 1800s and how it was brought into North America. She also talks about how growing up in the Middle East, she saw women in her community do raqs sharki at weddings and parties. Often dance. Women would dance with other women in private spaces, and they would dance for each other. When they danced, it was very powerful, playful, could be flirty. She would see it at weddings. It was very fun thing to do. She even danced at her own wedding and had a Arabic band and everything together. She mentions, though, this is where it starts a little controversial here. One of the most awkward occurrences for her is that she will go to an Arabic restaurant, and in the portion of the evening, she sees a white belly dancer. She says, now this usually happens on the weekends, and she's learned to avoid spaces with white belly dancers. Okay, now this one bothers me already, because now who's the one that's being racist, avoiding clubs and restaurants that have white belly dancers? It sounds pretty racist to me. These are all my opinions. She says that when a person who's not Arab is wearing jeanie pants, a bra, and heavy eye makeup, and what reads to be Arabic jewelry, she considers it Arab drag. Okay. um, I don't agree. Let's keep going. She also mentions on how she wasn't a terrible belly dancer, but that she was terribly thin, or incredibly thin, and it didn't remind her of the well-known Tahir Carioca or Hind Rostom or Fifi Abdu. Now, this is why this bothers me. not only I feel like you're shaming this poor girl. I mean, maybe for all, who knows, maybe she was trying to be racist, but I highly doubt that they would have a racist girl trying to be racist in an Arabic restaurant. If it's owned by Arabic people, then they want her there, don't they? They're paying for her to be there. So it's because they want her there. I highly doubt that she's, holding them against the corner saying, give me money to be racist in your restaurant and dance around in genie pants. Just saying. Also, so you're shaming her for being white and for being thin. It gets more interesting other than that. Now, that sounds like body shaming to me, but which I'm also against. But let's just keep going. She talks about how at the movie theater in Cairo in 2007, she went to see a movie and how the main actress wore a strange baggy dress and how the male dancer was, the male friend was talking about how because she was wearing this baggy dress, she was she was self-conscious or what's the word that they use? Uncomfortable with her body. Your friend is silly. I'll agree with that for him thinking that. And then she goes over into the whole revolution of Egypt and all that stuff, which is a bunch of other crazy political things that you can look up if you need to, if you don't know about it. And how apparently Western outlets were beginning to publish stories claiming that belly dancing was a dying art. And she's saying, as in, tell that to the women on the streets and on the rooftops and in bedrooms and in living rooms and in weddings dancing their hips off. For example, an actual working class Egyptian women of all sizes and ages dancing in the streets. The one interesting thing about these stories is that they reported Western or white women were beginning to take over gigs in Egypt. Now, okay, let's go with the fact that now you're saying working class Egyptian women of all sizes and ages are dancing in the streets. Okay, so now you don't have a problem with the size or age or where their financial status comes from. So pretty much it's not okay if she's white and thin and she's dancing because it doesn't remind you of Fifi Abdu, but it's okay if she's Egyptian and she's dancing around in the streets. And if she's fat, thin, or old, then it's okay. That's kind of contradicting. And still kind of racist. And body shaming. Or is it body shaming? I don't know. Now, the whole thing with the women coming into Egypt, she's claiming on how they had an obsession with belly dance and are now appropriating it from local dancers. Appropriating it from local dancers. Okay, so you're pretty much saying how these women are coming in and stealing jobs from dancers. Now, this is a problem all over the world. This isn't just Egypt. This isn't just something that happens there. This is everywhere in the world. I'm sure that many people have lost their jobs to many other races. I mean, people complain about in California how people are losing jobs to Mexicans. And let's just be honest here. If you're just not good at your job and you lose it to whatever the race is, then you're just not good at their job and they're probably better. Now, of course, this is a more complicated thing because then there's undercutting and then it just gets really complicated. I'm not saying that's always the case. It is a problem in many countries. And in this case, she's mentioning Egypt and how they were taking jobs and stuff. Honestly, I'm not going to get into details with that. Especially in my industry, there's lots of international craziness going on as well sometimes. And anyways, point is, that's just something that happens. I'm not going to express my opinions on that because that's a lot more political, I feel. So I'm not going to get into that, and it's not really my interest here. My interest is on the race and where they come from and all that stuff. But if people are taking your jobs while you're in Egypt, I'm really sorry. Sometimes the people are just trying to get whoever's the cheapest. It really sucks. Like it does suck. But business is business. It's the way it is. She's talking about how apparently this friend of hers said that these women were putting on an Arab face using Oriental garb and heavy eye makeup and glittery accessories in a invitation that was printed on a cardstock, and how that was not okay. Why is it not okay to wear the clothes that belly dancers have been wearing? I mean, if you want to talk about how it can be hypersexualized and sometimes it's too much, or sometimes it's very costumey, then I can get that. I understand it is something that happens. A lot of people aren't comfortable with how over sexualized it can be. Now that's just a whole other topic, but I feel that when it comes to costuming, it changes so much. And even if it is a cultural thing, would you have preferred if we danced? Would it be racist still if we danced in other clothing that isn't considered belly dance or considered cultural or close to your culture? That's just something I'm curious about. I'm not really sure how that would work, if that would make it any better or worse, or what if we use other clothing that aren't inspired by Middle East or Arabic or anything like that. So if you want to express your opinions on that too and comment on it, then feel free. I'm willing to hear, because I'm not sure if that would make it any better or worse. I think the one that's funny is that she says on how the most disturbing thing is when these women take up Arabic performance names. How it makes no sense to her, how it doesn't make sense, the name, and how it completes the estimation of brownface. Now, I don't agree fully with that. I can agree in the fact that if it doesn't make any sense, then it's kind of silly, but I still don't agree with it. Now, the reason I don't agree with it being too racist is because most of the time the women that have a stage name, or at least the ones I've met, these are just by my own experiences, guys. Like, these are just my own experiences that I'm talking from. I could be wrong, again, my opinion, but sometimes these women have these names because even the own restaurants or their own teachers who are Arab women will ask them to have a performance name and make it Arabic because it's easier for the Arabic crowd to remember them, and it's better advertising that way and better publicity, maybe. It's just easier to remember sometimes for them, even if it doesn't make full sense. Now sometimes they use it because it does have a meaning, or maybe there's 200 Stacey Johnsons in the community and one of them needs to change their name a bit so there knows a difference. It's really not a big deal. Like, for example, my name is from French background. As far as I know, I am not French in any way or form. Does that make me racist in having a French name? Is it racist that my mother named me with a French name, even though I'm not French? I don't think so. It's just a name, and it's just a meaning sometimes. So I don't think it's a big deal. Lots of people have names that don't belong to them culturally, and nobody's making a big deal out of that. So, I don't think it should be a big deal if they have a name or something. I mean, if it's a slur, then that's obviously wrong. Just saying. If it's a slur, don't do it. Or if it's like making fun. I mean, there's a fine line between racism and preserving culture or trying to express a culture or show your love for it or anything like that. Some of these women say, I've been dancing for 15 years, and this is what they know me for.